What's going on? Y'all, technology is just horrible these days. I really do hate technology sometimes. How's everyone doing on this tasty Tuesday, Taco Tuesday? Any tacos today? How are y'all doing? So, we're going to try something different because Fantasia's page is hacked. So typically we were going StreamYard because it's just way better, but her page is hacked for some reason. So we'll see. Okay, there she is. Let's see. Fantasia, I just sent you the request. It should stop beeping once the request comes, once you get on. There she go. Ah! Wait, so somebody hacked your page?
Let me woosah for a moment. My page, my original page was hacked a couple years ago. And for some reason, I've never went live with somebody else. So when I went on to check the link, it kept relinking me back to my original page. Now, actually, honestly, this page right now is my new page. And this has been active for over a year or so. So it's something with my settings in my phone. It's I had two Facebook accounts, okay? My original Facebook account was Fuddie Fontasia Lewis. So I changed it to Fontasia Fuddie Lewis. So the account that I'm talking to you right now on this account used to be my teddy bears account. Everybody know about Freddie. And when my page got hacked, I renamed his account to my name in order to use it. But because that was the original account, when I do things like this and use other avenues to go live, it still reconnects me with the old page, which is hacked.
We got to figure that out.
Facebook, Instagram, and all these other social media networks need to figure that out because the hackers are making their coins and they are taking advantage of everybody, and there's nothing you can do about it, period. So I'm trying to shake it off because I get real agitated and irritated with stuff like that because it's like it's somebody somewhere.
You're here. That's the main thing. And you look beautiful.
Thank you.
So
my son told me, he said, you better put on a little light dust today. Don't be going in there all like natural. So I said, I'm putting on a little light dust today.
It's an intimate conversation. So you could have had your bonnet on. You could have did whatever you wanted to do.
That's what I was telling him. I was like, I'm about to do my head wrap and just all of that.
Right. Well, first we just want to say thank you for giving us this hour or so of your time. We know that you are a busy woman. And when we comprised this show, we definitely had your name on the list of our legends and icons that we wanted to have a conversation with. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation, coming on despite the mishaps with the hacking. We do appreciate you for coming on and giving us a minute of your time tonight.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. The whole hack situation is something I can't get a handle on it right now. And unfortunately, that page, it still exists. So a lot of people still continue to tag me on that page. It's just frustrating. I can't figure it out. But this one at least exists, and a few people know about it. But I found that when I go live on this page now, I don't have the followers that I used to have on the old hack page. So it's a little frustrating when you're trying to promote and advertise things.
So we'll do this. Everyone that's on, the 35 of you that's on right now, share this live. It's public so it can get out to the masses because like she just said that her page has been hacked, the other one, so she doesn't have as many followers as she typically would. We want everyone to be able to witness this, whether it's in real time or days on. So share this page, share this live if you do that for me as well as for her. So let's get right into it. Fontasia LAmour. First,
you said right in.
I know that you are big on names.
Okay.
You like the way that people come up with their name. Tell us how you came up with yours.
Oh, you've been watching me, huh? That that is always an interesting question to me because I like it's just kind of entertaining just to hear the stories because some of these drag names are like outlandish. But the story behind my drag name, I actually, hi, handsome, how are
I'm
you?
good. How are
I'm
you?
fabulous now that we're connected
Yes.
properly. Um, but getting to your question, my name, my stage name comes from the initials of my real name, which is Fuddie Lewis. And I never wanted to be, I thought about, like with Janet Jackson, for example. Janet Jackson can't hide the fact that she's a Jackson, but she's a part of that family. So her clout is from having a Jackson name.
Right.
I never wanted to ride on the tail feathers or the wings of my drag mother. My drag mother is Tracy Love. That's her name. So to pay homage to her, I didn't want to be Fontasia Love or come up with a name with the last name Love. I wanted to keep using my original initials, and to pay homage to her, I used LAmour, which is still love in French. So
Oh,
that's how I came up with Fontasia LAmour.
oh, that's pretty. So take us back before Fantasia was even created. How was your upbringing? Where are you from? What did you do as a child? What were you involved in? Tell us all of that.
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I I was born and raised in South Bend, Indiana, a very, very small town just outside of Gary,
Okay.
Indiana. Um, I have I grew up with two brothers who were extremely protective of me, like very, very protective of me. I had an older brother and a younger brother. Um, I went to this Washington High School in South Bend, Indiana. I first started doing drag. Oh my goodness, probably late 80s.
Okay.
Probably late 80s when I dibbled and dabbed in it. And I got my start in drag with someone, may he rest in peace, named Bradley Bogart, who was a show director at the one and only gay bar in South Bend, Indiana, which was the Seahorse 2 Cabaret. At that time, it was owned by a lady by the name of Gloria, and she also owned Indiana Continental.
Mm.
So I started going there and performing there, just occasionally from time to time, doing like little contests and stuff like that. I got very well connected with Tracy Love, my drag mother, who was very, very standoffish. And she was a bitch. She is a bitch, and she still continues to be a bitch. And she takes that name proudly because she's very protective of her piece. So it's difficult to get anybody in her circle. But I was able to weave my way into that, and that's how I got on the cast of the Seahorse 2 Cabaret, which is where I got my start. So I started doing shows there, and to reach out to performing more in a different caliber per se of drag, I started commuting back and forth to Chicago. So my whole the core of my existence in pageantry and in drag basically came from the Midwest, but predominantly Chicago, because South Bend was so small. It was like the entertainment there was late. I'm gonna say it. Take it how y'all want it. I said today I might offend a few people, but it was just the drag there was just not on a caliber that I was kind of searching for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But my drag mother was like the ultimate, most fabulous thing there. And I was like, I want to be that, you know? And I found that in Chicago.
Okay.
I only found the one in South Bend, which was her. But I was like, I want to be more, I want to see more. So I started going back and forth to Chicago. And thanks to my association with everybody there, that's what really started elevating my drag. And I got hooked into the whole pageant arena through Sasha Valentino and Flame Monroe and all those girls back in Chicago. And the rest is history. After getting involved with the pageant arena, my um, my drag career just kind of catapulted. And when it got started so rapidly and so quickly, I was like, oh, I want to change my name.
Okay.
I really, really wanted to change my name because I didn't want to be associated with Fantasia, the movie.
Okay.
And there were so many Fantasias, which is why I chose Fantasia,
Mhm.
and which is why I'm so passionate about when people miscorrect, mispronounce my name. So I was like, if I wanted to be anything, I would rather be a single name. There was a model that I met years ago in Chicago, one of the most breathtaking, most beautiful women I've ever seen in my entire life, and we're still friends today. Her name was Feather. And I was like, if I were to change my name, that's the name I would prefer to be known as, Feather. I never changed it because my career had took off so rapidly, I had to stick with the Fontasia LAmour and let it ride. However, as far as emulating the femininity of a woman, it was based off of Feather, who was beautiful. And for those of you who don't know who Feather is, she's a model, and she was one of the rose bearers on the original Coming to America.
Okay.
So her and I are still really, really close and very, very good friends. So that's what got me started, you know, in the whole drag arena, and being involved with pageants and drag and fashion simultaneously with some of the most beautiful models in the Chicago area. That's pretty much how I got started.
I heard you say that your drag mother was a bitch and she owned it. Do you think at any time during your career, you said you started in the 80s, so from the 80s up until 2024, do you think you kind of taken on any of that?
Yes.
Or did you want to steer away from being known as a bitch?
Yes, I could be a bitch. I think everybody can be a bitch, but I'm not known as being a bitch. Anybody that has experienced that has misinterpreted a certain action of mine.
Okay.
And that action is, I have to tell this story too.
Go ahead, please do.
Like my kids, Xavier Valentino, Khalil Valentino, Taj Valentino, back then, those were the first three. I remember doing a show one day, and it was at a club here in LA, and it was one of those, you know, it was one of those bars.
Okay.
You know, with bad lighting, horrible dressing room, everybody squeezed up trying to do a show.
Gotcha.
Everybody in Miami coming to do a number. You got 15 people in the show. You got one light, one mirror. And I was trying to get ready because I was first, and people kept coming in, and it was shadowing the light while I was trying to paint. And I think it was Xavier. It might have been Xavier. If he's in the comments, he'll let you know. They were coming in. I guess they were doing background or something, backup dancing for somebody. I don't know why they were there. But just as I'm finishing and trying to get my lashes on, they're standing in the light. I was like, get out of my light. I was, and they perceived me like, oh, she's such a bitch.
Well, you
and
had to make sure that light was hitting that. You know how it is to make sure everything is together.
Right. So to this day, we always laugh about that story, especially considering the fact that they are all of my kids now, you know. So they understand their mother can be a bitch from time to time. And which is also one of the reasons why I don't prefer, although I've done it, I don't prefer to do my makeup at the club.
Okay.
I hate doing my makeup.
Because of the lighting.
No. It's not, it was not only the lighting was just like the main thing, but it's the whole, you know, you want to be social. You want to say, hey girl, how you doing? What's the tea? People coming in the dressing room. So it's distracting to me because I'm not what I consider a makeup artist, you know, but I know how to do my makeup for me. So every little distraction, it just kind of, it can just like throw me off. I just want to focus and get my makeup done and get the lashes on. And then I can kiki and say, hey, how you doing? All that kind of stuff. But prior to that, backstage, I'm just focused in the mirror trying to get ready.
So through you finding your name, through you finding your drag mother, you going back and forth from Indiana to Chicago and realizing the type of drag you liked and everything, how was your immediate biological family through all of this?
Well, first of all, my mother is my biggest fan. My biggest fan. My grandmother, may she rest in peace, she kind of looked at me sideways from time to time.
Okay.
Like, you finna go down there to that fad club and dress up like a girl? I was like, I would tell her, yes, Miss Thing. Talk to her like that, you know, just agitate her and mess with her. But she slowly embraced it, as well as my aunt, her youngest sister at the time. My brothers, since they were so protective of me anyway, they just kind of accepted anything that I did. Unfortunately, they never really came and supported the show in person. They never came to watch a show. They never came to watch me in a pageant. My oldest brother came to only one of my shows, and it was actually a going away party for myself for moving from South Bend, Indiana, to join the Dream Girls Review in San Diego, California. I did this big show at this little lodge slash bar, and he came to the show and had the most amazing time. Um, and all I remember him saying to me specifically at home was like, much respect to you, Fuddie, much respect.
Okay.
But Fuddie was a nickname that my brothers called me, Fuddie.
Okay. King, you got anything?
Well, just out of curiosity, oh, and first off, thank you so much. I'm sorry I missed the greetings. I was sitting on StreamYard and then I went back and looked at the notes. But I was just curious, when you moved to Chicago, did you ever consider, or were you already maybe on it at the Baton? Did you ever consider the showcast at the Baton, or did you try and get into that bag while in Chicago?
Actually, I only lived in Chicago for about 3 years when I went to college there. I continued living in South Bend throughout my whole career within pageantry because Chicago was like a 2-hour drive. It was nothing for me to go back and forth. Um, I remember getting a phone call. I can't recall the year because I'm going to tell y'all now I have CRS. Anybody know what CRS
No.
is? I can't remember shit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, so as far as remembering specifically dates and things like that, I don't remember. But I remember having a phone call with Ginger Grant, and she called me and asked me the same question. I was like, "Oh, the Baton, me?" I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could be that caliber. I don't know if I can do that consistently, day by day. I really, really want to live in Chicago. Long story short, I kind of turned it down per se. I don't know who she had expressed it with. I don't know if that was, um, if she had spoke about that with anybody else on cast, let alone even spoke with Jim Flynn about it. But the conversation that I had with her was, you should consider it. I said, you know what, I'll give it some thought. But I just never went through with it because I had knowledge of how consistently they had to work and how much rehearsals they had to do, like day by day by day by day. And I'm the type of person that likes to do multiple things, and I couldn't see myself being able to balance, let alone relocate officially to Chicago in my own space. Because when I did live there during college, I lived with my aunt and uncle on the south side of Chicago.
Do you regret that maybe you didn't follow through? Okay.
No,
Okay.
no.
Do you think it was best for you in your career to just how you spanned it out?
I, I don't regret the decision, but I guess this may sound contradicting when I say this, because when I look back at the history of the Baton, and I think of the fact that had I been on this cast, how quicker and more rapidly my drag would have really elevated, because we become a product of our environment.
Mhm.
And that environment during that time, I'm speaking during that time, those girls were the deal. And still to this day, it's the top of the nation's review. It holds that title. And that's all I thought of it was, top of the nation's review. And I've always wanted to be a part of the elite in anything. So that's my only regret of just really feeling like had I been at the Baton, I probably would have had more of this. I probably would have had more of that. And I'm talking costume wise and selection wise. And, you have to elevate yourself to match the group of people that you're working with. In other words, I didn't want to be the booger on the show. I
Right.
wanted to be, I wanted to be the Mimi and the Cezanne and the Monica, Sherry Payne, and the list goes on and on. So to know that I would have had an opportunity to be a part of that, I do kind of regret it a little bit, but I made the choice to just continue doing what I'm doing now. And during that time, around the time that I was asked, I was also very heavily involved in fashion I was so influenced by Chicago fashion designers. Um, I became friends with a lot of models in Chicago. And there was this club in Chicago called the Taste Entertainment Center.
Mm.
And they had they had these big fashion shows every Thursday night. Club would be packed to capacity. And I went a couple of times. I was like, oh, I would love to be a part of this. And my friend at the time, a friend of mine named Kelly Powell, he said, well, you could make up a couple of dresses. I can talk to Dunbar, who was the fashion commentator at the time, and she can let you put some of your pieces in the show. And, and she did that. So lo and behold, now I'm friends with all these models, and they're having these fashion shows every Thursday. In addition to me working at the Seahorse 2 Cabaret back at home in South Bend, Indiana. So I was commuting back and forth doing drag and being a fashion designer, one of the featured fashion designers in these weekly shows that they had at the club.
So is that what you went to school for fashion when you were in Chicago?
No. I majored in performance choreography. I went to Columbia College in Chicago.
Okay.
So I majored in performance choreography, dance, wanted to be a dancer and all that kind of stuff. But I never finished it because I think I got into something knowing that you have to be physically capable of maintaining a long career as a dancer. I was like, this ain't gonna work for me. So I moved back to South Bend, Indiana. I got connected with a much, much older guy who owned a boutique that we shared a space with. And I started renting out a space next to his boutique. And I opened up my own little Fuddie Fashions. And what really helped me living in a small town, big fish, small town type of situation, was I gained a lot of prom clients, which was my busiest time of year. So I wanted I wanted to do something involved with fashion. So drag has allowed me to continue to do that by making my own stuff and wearing it. And of course, I've done so much stuff for so many other people, including a lot of the models that I worked with during that time.
Okay.
So
Interesting. King, anything you got before I move to the next one?
Oh.
Okay. So now I want to get to know Fontasia on a more personal level. So some of your favorites, things you like to do. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is red.
Red.
Yeah. And it's so weird when I say red because I love black and I love white, but I've never considered black and white as a color, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if I had to say a favorite color, it would be red.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you are home alone and maybe you're sewing or you're doing something, what makes you smile?
Inspiration and looking at my wall. And let me make sense of that.
Yes.
I was just talking to Flame Monroe the other day about this. And anybody that knows me, that's ever been to my home, even my shop that I had in South Bend, I would always find a wall and it would just be collaged with anything that inspired me, whether it was fashion, drag, or anything. I have just a wall of everything. And I could never be creative without turning and looking here and looking there. And, I would take y'all in there and show y'all now, but it's a mess. But just surrounding myself with inspirational things, kind of like, what do you call those things that people make up?
Like a mural?
A vision board.
Okay.
Like a vision board. My vision board is a wall in my room. The shop that I had in Indiana was completely collaged from the ceiling all the way to the floor. You can look up into on the ceilings. There was no color anywhere. It was all completely collaged with photos.
Wow. How long does that typically take you to do, to collage it like that?
It takes a very, very long time, but after I did it at the shop that I had in Indiana, I remember when I was moving, I'm like, how am I gonna get all this shit down? I gotta take all this stuff down. And a lot of it was taped together. So as I started taking it down, it was one whole piece. I was like, okay, so the next time I do this, I'm just going to buy poster board
Okay.
and do
Yeah.
poster board and then put the poster board up. But as of now, my sewing room is like, it's just individual photos, 5x10s of various different entertainers and
Okay.
all of that.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve?
Yes.
I got so many.
Well, you
I
can
was gonna
give
say
us
one of
more
your
than
biggest
one.
pet peeves.
Oh my goodness. You want a list?
That's fine. This is your interview. Absolutely. Give it
Oh
to
my
us.
God.
So we'll know the not the
Give us your top
Yes.
5.
Uh, um, ooh, ooh.
Someone
Oh,
said people
my
not
biggest,
responding to you.
I hate you right now, Marco Pope, because it's so ironic that he just mentioned, because I don't see the comments on my end. I don't know why. I see them when they first pop up, but then they disappear.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things on the top of my list, and I try not to be so affected by it, because no response is a response.
It is.
And my biggest pet peeve is not replying to a text message. And I don't mean a personal text message. I don't mean a, hey girl, how you doing? I'm talking about business.
Right.
I'm talking about business. I'm getting ready for a pageant. Is there any way you could contact me and let me know what the cost would be to do this silhouette? And I'll send you a photo and then I don't hear from you. Ooh, ooh, that crossed deep under my skin.
Okay.
I would rather for a person to reply and say, hey, I don't have the time, or no, I can't do it. But to leave me in limbo and wondering, and we have a personal rapport too, usually 9.5 times out of 10. Most people that I do work with business wise, I know them on a personal basis. So when they don't reply, that is ultimately my biggest pet peeve.
Okay. Gotcha.
So a couple other little pet peeves are nails.
Nails.
Nails. I don't like to see a girl with no nails on.
Okay.
I feel like it completes the drag
Yes.
to me. Or shall I say like Braxton, to me.
The you. Okay. What is your biggest fear in life?
My biggest fear in life is death.
That's mine
Yeah,
too.
it's that ultimate thing it's destined, it's going to happen. You can't get around it. And just the thought of, you know, it's just it's like really, really eerie.
Yeah.
I was talking to my sister, my play sister back in Indiana, and I was telling her, I called her. I said, girl, you know what I just did? I said, girl, I just deleted 12 phone numbers out of my phone, and I'm still not done. And these are people that have passed on that I don't want to accidentally send a text to, or scroll through and see their name, and then all of a sudden see the name, and then it takes you back to that
Take you
moment. You're
back.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So definitely death would be the answer to that.
You mentioned that you worked with a lot of models. Do you have a favorite model? Not necessarily that you work with, but just in the industry, someone that you just really like.
My favorite model was Feather.
Okay.
Feather was, I mean, and to this day, Feather is, I don't know, I think she's like a couple of years older than me. Still gorgeous,
Okay.
still beautiful. And getting to know her on a personal basis, I actually remember going to a photo shoot with her and watching her in action, and living in Chicago and picking up magazines from time to time and seeing her on, on the cover of this, or in the faux sheet of this and that. I remember going to 1990, I forgot what year it was. I remember being in the beauty supply. So, oh, that's Feather. She was on the cover of Precise, the perm box.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
The perm bat.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So she was my favorite model, and it took a while for me to even have the opportunity to dress her in one of my fashion shows that I did. But it would definitely be her, and the other one, there's actually quite a few, but the one that has a very significant impact in my life would be Lisa Ray.
Mm.
And it's so ironic. I think I told this story before in another interview, that day that I was talking about earlier at the Taste Entertainment Center, the fashion shows that I used to do back then, Lisa Ray was one of those models. And my very first time that I did a show with a collection of clothing was at that particular show. I'll never forget these spandex dresses. Now I'm thinking about Beyonce's Uncle Johnny.
Yeah.
There were these spandex dresses that just hugged and fit. I mean, hugging every single curve with the big shoulder pads. And I had taken a different fabric and did like these, just like some hanging pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 black ones and 1 white one. So lo and behold, she chose the white one that she wanted to wear in the show. And officially, Lisa Ray was my very first client that ever purchased anything from me.
Oh,
wow.
And I still work for her to this day.
Wow.
There's a jumpsuit that I made for her. She hasn't picked it up yet. I've had it almost 2 years, and it's hanging right in front of me right now with her name on it.
Come get your jumpsuit, girl.
It's just been sitting there waiting for her to, girl, come and get this jumpsuit. So yeah.
Who's
Lisa
your
Ray.
celebrity crush?
Oh, my celebrity crush. Oh, what is his name? The comedian. Is it Dion Cole?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Dion. Yeah.
Have you met him?
No, I have not yet met him.
Yes.
I have not
We're
yet
gonna speak that into existence
Yeah.
yet.
Dion.
What are 3 flaws that you feel you can work on about yourself?
Procrastination.
Okay.
I guess that still falls in time management skills too. So I can't include that.
Okay.
That's included within.
Yes, it is.
I would say procrastination, emotional connections with people, and the biggest flaw of mine, and I struggle. This is the biggest flaw that I struggle with daily, is because I'm so thoughtful and I'm so emotionally invested in people. But the biggest one would be saying no.
So you don't like to say no.
It's hard for me to say no to certain people, and then I'll complain about it later. Like, God damn it, I should have said, why am I doing this? But it's a natural with me with certain people in my life, especially if they hold a significant value to me. It's emotionally, it's difficult to say no.
So let me back up. I want to unpack. You said emotional connection. Where does that come from? In what instance do you mean?
In that instance, I guess I would be like, I have to use my grandmother as an example. May she rest in peace. And then I'm also thinking about Tracy Love too. It's like, if I like you, I really like you. It's not a like. It's like it's easy for me to love somebody and treat them as though like my kids, all of my kids. You would think if I was a biological woman that I gave birth to them,
Right.
Because I'm so I'm emotionally invested in people so heavily. I guess.
Gotcha.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just want to know where you stood as far as that's concerned.
Your son Xavier said that you take on too many projects,
including yours. So hush.
What's your favorite food to eat, Fontasia?
Oh, if I had to name one thing, it would be bananas.
Really?
Yeah, I love bananas.
So you believe in bananas in your banana pudding?
Oh, of course. Who doesn't? Hold on. Wait a minute.
I saw that post and went crazy.
That was the post yesterday I made. Does bananas go in banana pudding?
Was that a serious post?
Yes. I wanted to know because I don't like bananas.
I love bananas, but I know so many people that request banana pudding with no bananas. And I think that is so crazy.
Because they get so soggy and they turn.
You're not supposed to sit, it's not supposed to sit there that long.
You just knocked your emotional connection down a peg or two.
So you believe, okay, so Fantasia believes, she's one that believes in bananas and banana pudding.
I like bananas, but as far as a meal is concerned, my favorite meal, when it's done right, is lasagna.
Okay.
I love me some good, good old lasagna.
Good lasagna. So good lasagna. Growing up, who were some of your favorite artists to listen to on the radio or maybe television if they had a musical show? Who are some of your favorite artists?
Natalie Cole.
Okay.
Natalie Cole was another collage on my wall in my section of the bedroom, because my brothers, we like shared the bedroom, and I was committed to, like, this wall is mine. One side of the wall was basketball players and basketball and this and that, and the other side of the wall, which is all, I literally had a collage of Natalie Cole albums on my wall. I've always loved Natalie Cole. Other than that, the variety of house music, continuous house music. I don't know all the DJs, but I know Frankie Knuckles is a name that just really sticks out to me. Jamie Principle, just continuous house music, which I grew to love from going back and forth to Chicago, because when the show was over with, that house music started.
Right. Were you ever fortunate enough to meet Natalie Cole?
Oh my God, let me tell you. I wasn't expecting this to come up. I am not a starstruck person from my experience. And I have to go back to the Lisa Ray thing, because a lot of times I've been out with her and I just see how people come up to her, and then we're in the car, she'd be like, it's difficult. Even in the drag industry, it's difficult to really remain cordial and this and that. So I worked for a little over 8 years on and off for a fashion designer by the name of Linda Stokes. Linda Stokes is a fashion designer to the stars. She has worked for everybody. Getting a job with her and working with her and sewing for her and doing all these clothes for various different people that she worked for, it was always exciting to me. But I was the only English speaking person in her staff that really knew who Patti LaBelle is. I know who Steve Harvey is. I know who J-Lo is. I know who Natalie Cole is. I know who Shaka Khan is. To these other workers, it didn't faze them. But for work, you have to contain yourself, because they're coming to her. They're let their hair down. They're in this woman's atmosphere, and so they don't want to be bombarded with fans. But I worked for her. So getting to my story, I literally, one of the most cherished moments that I had to stop myself. I'm so emotional.
We love it. We love it. And we can get you to get emotional. We got you.
Baby, because when she passed on, I cried like a baby. But anyway, get into my story. I was working for Linda Stokes at the time, and she did a jacket, some type of jacket for Natalie. And she came in, and this jacket was adorned with buttons on the, just all different types of buttons. And she had this big box. Linda had this big box of buttons that she wanted me to go through. And Natalie came into the shop. I remember, like the back of my hand, sitting in a swastika position, face to face, just as close as I am to this phone, with Natalie Cole, like two little kids playing in the playground and shifting through sand, or shifting through buttons. Oh, this one is not. I said, oh, girl, we got to get these. I'm sitting here picking buttons with Natalie Cole, but I can't be starstruck because I'm at work.
Right.
But when I clocked out of work that day, I called my mom in tears. I said, you would not believe who I met today. Wow. I literally sat down with Natalie Cole picking out buttons, and the stories go on and on, but that's the most significant one because of my emotional connection with the love I had for that woman, for her music. It was just something about her. And also it was instilled with me, my love for her during my childhood. So, to be there, and it's like, you can't share this with anybody. I can't go live. I can't take a picture.
Right.
You can't say, can you take a picture? I couldn't do that because I'm at work, but I've had relationships with multiple celebrities through working for Linda Stokes. But that was the one that was the most significant impact.
Has any celebrities you invited to maybe any of your shows? Has that ever happened for you?
Oh, yes. Kim Whitley came to a couple of my shows before. And of course, obviously, Lisa Ray has been to a few shows. In fact, a couple of benefits when I did benefit shows, for pageants and stuff like that. who else? Those are the only two that really stick out.
Okay.
The ones that I can comfortably say, hey girl, I'm doing a show, you should come.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. Fantasia, what is your passion in life?
Oh, what is my passion in life? I don't know why I'm feeling this Beyonce mode right now. Is to be happy.
Okay.
That was just about to come out. No. I wasn't meaning that. I was just thinking about anybody know that song, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said to be happy with.
No.
Okay.
Well, that too, but I guess my passion is like what I'm doing now. I want to, even despite the reality of starting to feel like drag is eventually going to work its course with me, being involved in it all the time, to being involved in pageantry all the time. I think my passion lies in assisting others, helping
Okay. Service.
other
Service.
people with their dreams. So whenever I bow out in the world of drag and or pageantry, which I'm sure that's gonna come up because
Yeah,
I'm about to bow out.
definitely. You know it is.
I would still be involved in some capacity with helping others, which is why I chose to be a part of Southern California Continental as one of the promoters, because now I can still do what I do vicariously through others.
You know, you are a video vixen. A famous group
Wow.
was in your video called Bills. Tell us how
Oh,
that came about.
I was in their video.
No, they was in your video. But tell us how that came about that you were the star of Bills.
Well, let's be correct. I was not the star of Bills.
You were.
But I mean, those girls were so young back then. It was the beginning, not even the beginning. I mean, it was like a part of their career where they really did not have a whole lot of control over things. They had to deal with, this is what the director wants, this is what this person wants, and blah blah blah. So for Bills, the girls wanted a drag queen.
Okay.
They wanted to emulate that somewhere in the video. The director was like, no, that's just not gonna make sense. And so, hey, listen, if y'all want it, y'all pay for it, because we don't have the budget. We're not gonna pay for it. Y'all want to pay for it, y'all pay for it. So they reached out. Now I don't quote me on this, but to my knowledge, it was asked to RuPaul at the time. RuPaul suggested for them to use Jasmine Creighton, and Jasmine and I were like this. And at the particular time, she couldn't do it. So she called me, said, girl, you want to be in the video? They need somebody right away to do camera ready, and I just can't do it. So she suggested it to me, and I was like, oh, well, I ain't doing nothing. Sure. Like, what should I wear? They said, just wear whatever you want to wear. Here's the number, blah, blah, blah. I got called. They sent the car for me, and I went and did my little part and hit it. But when you really watch it and analyze and dissect it, you can see where that part just really didn't fit per se. So I went and I did, and I got paid cash by Beyonce herself. I always tell this story. I'll have to demonstrate it to you face to face. She paid me like a drug dealer, like put it in my hand like that. Like, I was like, because I went over. I remember going over to Tina, Miss Knowles, and I was like, who do I have to talk to about? Oh, go over there to B. She has it.
Okay.
I was like, Beyonce.
Wow. Okay.
So I remember she was sitting in a chair, and somebody was finishing up her makeup for the next scene, and I went over to her. She said, your mom told me to come. She said, oh, okay, here you go. And she handed it to me.
So for your
I'll
part,
never
was it
say
an
how
all-day
much.
process? Was it an all-day process, or was it just in and out?
I got so many compliments on how it just worked so rapidly.
Okay.
I ended up arriving around the time they wanted to shoot my scene. Did it, and it was done. And then when I finally saw the edited version, I was like, oh, what about this part? What about that? I was like, they cut so much out of the video. If you watch the very, very beginning of that video, press play in the very beginning, the doors open into the salon. That was me pushing the doors open.
Okay.
That was just one of the scenes that they took out. So it ended up just being like a couple of really small clips and cameos. It's a very stop and rewind, pause type of situation where you have to catch me. But
now,
it was
were you
fun.
able to capitalize on that specific video to get other acting jobs in mainstream or other things happen for you?
Um, yes and no. That was before social media was really, really heavy. And I post stuff like that now, and there's still thousands of people that had no knowledge. They'd be like, "I didn't know that was you." You know, so it doesn't have as much of an impact now as it did back then. But it was something I was able to put on my resume, which landed me a guest starring role on Sparks, the TV show that they had. So being able to have that on my resume, in addition to some other stuffs, I think it kind of helped. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's play the game.
What game?
Are you familiar with the
I
game?
think so, because I watched your interview with Mimi
Okay. So we'll
and
give
with
you 10
Siobhan.
words, people, places, or things, and you give us the first thing that comes to your mind. And you're more than welcome to elaborate if you need to explain it, or if it's just a closed-ended response, and that's good too. Okay?
Okay.
So the first person is going to be Flame Monroe,
Oh, comedian
comedian. Okay.
and good at it.
Yeah.
And good at it. And the thing about Flame, her and I, we have a very close and personal and emotional connection with our relationship.
Okay.
I can leave here and be at her house in 6 minutes. That's how close we live together. But even through her history of drag and her history of pageantry, she's always stood out as a comedian. And I like the fact that she embraces that and calls herself comedian Flame Monroe, not trans comedian or anything.
Right.
She just,
Right.
you know, and when she first moved out here, actually, I remember going to one of her first gigs, which was at the Ha Ha Cafe, which is where I met Buddy Lewis and Kim Whitley, who kind of helped her with that gig that she did. So I've been rolling with her ever since.
Well, you let her
Just
know
so
that
you
this
know,
show is for legends and
she's
icons,
on.
and we want her
She's
on
on.
here.
Okay.
No, but she's on. She made it
Oh,
Oh,
she
on.
is
on?
she?
Yes.
Okay, well,
She was
hi.
she was fighting to get on here.
Oh,
She
there she
made it
is.
on. She found
Okay, now she is
Oh,
lovely. I
okay,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
Tell her she's definitely a part of both of our lists when we
Okay.
created this show.
and Flame, we're not playing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Number two, I want to ask you about chili pepper. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear chili pepper?
Tweety.
Explain that.
Um, chili peppers. By this happening so recently, it's so difficult for me to get, um, Tweety, to my knowledge, I remember I was at the Baton one day and I had this shirt. It was I had on some jeans and just this big old t-shirt and it had a Tweety, Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she said, Tweety. She said, that's my nickname. Did you know that? I was like, no. She said, yeah, you see the big head and blah, blah, blah. She said, they used to
Okay.
call me Tweety. I said, really? So from that day, whenever I see her, I say, hey, Tweet, Tweet. So it was like a personal thing between me and her. I don't know who else acknowledged or embraced her as Tweety, and whoever it was, it might be way back during Detroit and way back in the day.
Right.
So that's my fondest connection with her, of knowing that, that was my personal nickname with her, that she taught me to call her that. So
Gotcha.
that's what she was known to me.
Number three, when you think of South Bend, Indiana, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Washington High School, the school that where I graduated from. Back in the day, during my freshman year at Washington High School, I was the high school mascot.
Oh.
And then my sophomore year on through my senior year, myself and my very best friend to this very day, by the name of Todd Nalon, we were the first male cheerleaders at Washington High School. Our popularity was like way up here. Everybody knew the both of us. A couple of people called us the tumbling queens because we would flip across
Right.
the basketball court, uh, the football field, and all of that. So definitely Washington High School.
Okay. Well, we have 3 cheerleaders on the line right now. We all cheered in high school and college. Marcos Pope.
Oh, connection. And then the reason why I say connection, because you want me to say the first word that comes to mind.
No, you can.
I
Yes, first word.
I met Marcos Pope in 2009. He was introduced to me through Tasha Long, who I was appointed to represent Alabama Renaissance. This is back in 2009. And at that time, he was involved with Renaissance, and he was the promoter for that particular prelim. And I remember the day that I met him. It's so weird to put in words. It was just like a puzzle piece that just clicked instantly. It was a vibe. It was a chemistry. And to this very day, he is my confidant, one of my best friends. And our relationship is like so super close. There is no Fontasia without Marcos.
Okay.
But it's just that connection that is too difficult to explain, but it's just so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. We love him. One of my great sponsors and Tuskegee alum. So I definitely love Marcos.
Yeah, we love some Marcos Pope.
Number 5, Diabolique West.
Intimidated. And I say intimidated simply because, and this is the first word that came to my mind, because it was the first thing that I thought of him when I used to see him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I really literally thought that he was just some straight guy making his money, filming these videos. He don't give a shit about us. He's just here to make his money. So I was very intrigued by him, seeing him all the time, but I was so intimidated by him. So when I got involved with Westland and won Miss Westland and got to know him up close and personal, it's like he's like a big brother to me.
Okay.
Even though I might be older, so he's still a big brother.
Number 6, he was mine when I was Black America Plus. He was my junior king, but he was your king this past year at Continental. Gabriel Times Dupree.
Oh, my baby. Again, instant connection. He came down here and competed for our preliminary Southern California Continental. And with that preliminary, it's the same preliminary that I represented when I won Elite, which is owned by Anton Mulvaney. So after my year of reigning as Elite and also Southern California, the connection that I had with this man being so supportive, I was like, I want to get involved, but I can't afford to be no promoter. I ain't got that kind of money. But he allowed me to be on board, and I started saving money in envelopes so that when it came time for me to assist as a promoter, I was able to contribute something. So getting to my point with Gabriel, when he came here, he made such a significant impact in Southern California, where it is difficult for anybody as a male lead to really make these waves and be somebody that everybody likes and adores. He literally stayed with me here at my place, and we just got so connected. So for the sake of not adopting him and calling him my son, because they're so protective, I just call him my baby. He's just everything to me. And
I love him.
We have bent over backwards to do any and everything that he requested to make his whole journey to Continental completely stress-free.
Okay. Number 7, Khalil Valentino.
Oh, Black Magic. Black Magic. It's so funny. All of my kids have nicknames, and the significance of that nickname is obviously because he's drop dead gorgeous, melanin chocolate black, and everything that he touches is like magic. It's like people hit me up all the time saying they'll inbox me, say, hey, I'm competing for this, can you help me with my talent, can you help me do this, can you help me do this? I was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's the boys.
Right.
That's that black magic. They helped come up with a lot of the concepts of my talents. It wouldn't be what they are without Khalil, Xavier, and the rest of the Valentino gang. But he is the master of all of that. He's like the one. He's the one holding the puppets
The
and
puppets.
doing
Okay.
everything. So yeah.
So we did Khalil. So number 8 will be Xavier.
Xavier is a true entertainer in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. And going back to talking about male lead entertainment, it's so difficult for them to open doors and opportunities in Southern California, specifically, where it's kind of foreign to have male leads versus me coming from the Midwest where it's plentiful
Yes.
and people are used to it. Here, they're not used to that. But when they see a good quality entertainer that is expressive and the stage presence is just so demanding and thoroughly entertaining, he's just undeniably a true artist on the stage, period. And he's my reigning king / son for for Glamorous Legends duets.
Number 9. When you think of the state of California, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Money.
Okay.
I think, and I'm answering these questions because you say the first thing comes to mind is money,
Right.
and the reason being is because coming from Indiana, where the real estate, the difference between real estate is like apples and oranges. It's completely different. Or shall I say apples and the tree,
Right.
or apples and a book.
Right.
So I had to adjust so rapidly. I was like, what? The rent hit $3,000 for rent?
That's why you're our rich auntie.
We're going to address that too. I'm glad you brought that up because I want to address that too.
Okay.
So it's just a money thing. A lot of people perceive what they perceive and what they see.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to bring up names so that you can vividly and comparatively see the big difference. And the first name to come to mind is Dina Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine being fortunate to go to her wardrobe?
When I tell you.
Versus my wardrobe.
Well, you have a wardrobe too now.
Well, my point is, my wardrobe, because I can sew, that's a blessing. If I didn't know how to sew, I wouldn't be in this industry.
Okay.
So I don't have all the beads. I don't have all the feathers. I don't have all the glitz. I don't have all of that. I can pull it out and get it together for a pageant and for an occasional number here and there. But when you go through my wardrobe, you will notice that you don't see me in a lot of that because I try to make wearable art that I can throw in the washer and wear it again. I'm not one to have all these brand new gowns every single show, which takes me back to the whole baton thing. Change all these. My wardrobe is not really as extensive as people think, but the little bit that they do see, it doesn't look cheap. I have an outfit now that I could probably sell it easily for about $1,800, and it might have cost me $98.
Wow.
I
think one of the first times I saw you, it was at NBU. You had on a graffiti gown. It was airbrushed graffiti. I thought it was so sickening. I was like,
oh, my Sasha Valentino gown.
Yes, I think it was
Yes.
Valentino.
Yeah. And that gown was reversible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was.
So what was on the inside?
It was just the exact. It was the duplicate. There was a picture somewhere floating around on my hacked account. The opposite side was just a tan color.
Okay.
Because it was lined in tan and it was piped in white. And then the side that you saw was vice versa. And I hired this artist by the name of Risky here in Los Angeles. And I gave him an image and he airbrushed Sasha Valentino on it. Because I love that picture of her looking up. And my whole idea of the concept was I wanted her looking up at me while I was at MBU.
Wow. Thoughtful. The last thing that comes to the last one, what comes to your mind when you think of your glamorous duet reign?
Ooh, easy.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
Baby, when I say easy, I mean easy, 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 easy. And it's so fitting that you asked that now, because we're in the midst of we were in the midst of still recruiting people and reaching out to people. And legends in this industry, there's absolutely no excuse that anybody can dig in their closet and come and do this particular pageant. It's literally two categories: no presentation, no interview. You literally come to the pageant dressed in your formal wear or your evening gown. You do that, and then you do your talent, and that's it. There's no obligations throughout the year. There are no preliminaries. Um, it's a great lump sum of cash. And just, being able to hold a title for a whole year without any major obligations other than appearances here and there, it's just easy and simplistic.
So real quick before we move higher in the program, could you tell us the date? Tell us where it's going to be and all
It
of
is
that.
going to be at Southern Nights in Orlando, Florida on November the 10th. Registration actually, the deadline for registration was actually on the 15th of this month.
Okay.
So yeah, we have yet to even announce the couples. And the good thing about it is the couples can be, male, 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 female, female, female. It's any
Any
couples,
duet.
any
Okay.
duet couples. Yeah.
Okay. King, anything you want to ask before I move forward?
Well, I was just curious. It's kind of going back, but it's still present. Also, with the three major moves you did, from Indiana to Chicago, from Chicago to California. Well, two places in California. What was probably the most challenging part of those moves for you, as far as the entertainer, not the fashion side, but the entertainer?
Um, well, actually, the story of me leaving Indiana to California, when I first moved to California, I, with my son at the time, this white guy by the name of Jesse, who I don't claim anymore, but that's another story. We literally drove from South Bend, Indiana to San Diego. And because I could sew, um, I literally came with nothing. I remember having a fortunate opportunity to move into a 2-bedroom apartment that was granted to me for the first month of rent off, because the owner at the time was a part of the Dreamgirls Review. And because I was new with the cast and I had drove here to be a part of that, I came with nothing but, a few pieces of luggage and a sewing machine. So starting off that whole um, the whole gig with Dreamgirls Review, which is now currently the longest running drag show in Southern California, I
Uh-huh.
started off with pretty much nothing. I literally was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with a lamp and a comforter and like no furniture. Um, I lived there for probably 2 weeks, and the Lord blessed me through an unfortunate situation, with a house that had gotten raided for crystal meth. And this house was right next to the apartment complex. And when they had to come and seize everything, they were literally giving stuff away. So I was able to go over there and literally furnish my whole apartment with beautiful brand new things, but I had to walk it over to my apartment. So that's how I got my start.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Fantasia, tell us the significance of the bear. You used to walk around with the bear, take pictures with the
Uh-huh.
bear. Tell me what that represented for you.
What bear?
The teddy bear. I used to always
What
see
teddy
you.
bear?
It's not a bear?
You
Yes!
mean Freddie? You know what? I was like, I just pulled him out of the car. I just pulled him out of the car because I was like, I know they're gonna ask about
Yes,
Freddie.
because I didn't know what it
I
meant
always
to you.
I be in a playful, jokingly manner. I always tease people when they say the bear. I say, this is not the bear.
Okay.
This is Freddie.
Okay, Freddie.
But since we're on an
Yeah.
interview, I always try to brief it when people ask me. I just say he's just kind of like a souvenir that I use for promotional purposes, and I take him everywhere now because it started many years ago as a joke, and he was um, Soleil Valentino, and Taj Valentino. We were at Liberty Continental, and I used to take him with me on the plane because I always use him as a pillow. I don't know why, but prior to just having one, I had several. And I remember my things got taken from me in the storage. And I put all my stuff in storage, including all of my teddy bears, which were all given to me by a friend of mine by the name of Gilbert. Mm-hmm. So when everything got taken out of storage, he was the only one left. So I was like, I just used him as a pillow. Oh. So they was like, you should take pictures with him and make a video. Because, you know, I make these videos.
Right.
So I did the video and it got so many likes on it. I was like, oh, let me do another one just to mess with them. And it just snowballed into me now developing a freaking emotional connection with this bear. So when I did Continental Elite, my dresser, Selena, at the time, and this was just all in good fun, everything that I wore, I made an outfit for him for each category.
Oh,
so that's when she would get me dressed and get me together, she would dress him and get him together, and we'd take pictures with people. And Gilbert, who's the one that gave him to me, used to be the one that would come and take him and say, here, take a picture. And he would hand him this bear. So all these photos started circulating of, you know, people with Freddie.
Freddie, yeah.
And the popularity of him was like, I was like, this is ridiculous how popular this bear has gotten. But I said, I'm going to roll with it and take advantage of it. So now when it comes to pageantry, usually if you see me at a pageant, he's there somewhere. Okay. He's there somewhere. He has a lot of favorites of people that like to babysit him and keep him.
Well, I need to see Freddie next time I see you. I've seen you twice this year and haven't seen Freddie. Yeah. So the next time I see you, I need to see Freddie, okay?
Giselle's in the comments asking, where is Gilbert?
Gilbert is still around, but you know, it's amazing when it comes to people's political views, how it can sway your relationship with people. And I, you know, from my heart and my, again, emotional connection, have much love for him. But he was also responsible for a lot of controversy and things that I just didn't agree with. Okay. So I ended up blocking him. I treat him with kindness when I see him, but we are no longer like we used to be because of his political views.
Okay. So if you're just joining in, we have Fontasia LAmour. And she's one of our legends and icons that we decided to interview tonight. So share the live. We're going to go ahead and finish up with her. We want to talk about drag with you.
Okay.
You have been in this industry for over 30, 40 years now, would you say? Where do you see drag now? Where is it at in your eyesight? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? How do you view it?
I definitely think that is good. I like the fact that people have really, in the words of T.S. Madison, stepped their pussy up. Drag has been so elevated. Of course, RuPaul's Drag Race has negative opinions and has positive opinions, but the positive opinions kind of dominate over everything. This platform has just catapulted drag into a whole different dimension as to what it was when I first started. And seeing the examples of it on such a large platform, you can't help but better yourself. So I just foresee it just getting better. However, unfortunately, there are some people that just don't comprehend and they stay stagnant in their drag. And there's no reason when you have all these examples that you see. And of course, it's catapulted even more because of the monetary value that they're making from doing this. So now they can invest in this. They can invest in that, you know. So I foresee it being a bright future.
And speaking of RuPaul Drag Race, would you ever consider, seeing as though now they do allow trans women on, would you consider going?
I auditioned for Drag Race season 1.
Okay.
And season 2.
Okay.
And if you all know from back in that time, it only took season 3 for me to realize, oh, wait a minute. Girl, if you don't leave this alone, they ain't thinking about you right now. So I just it just went to a complete halt. And ironically, most of my sisters and the majority of my cast that chooses to have all been on Drag Race.
Oh,
Every single one of them, except for myself and an entertainer by the name of Dolly Levi, who has no interest to do so. Delta Work, Chad Michaels, Sonique, Morgan McMichaels, Mayhem Miller, Jasmine Masters, everybody on the cast has been on the show except me. And with Sasha, with Sasha in her reign, it was the one that really made me think, well, maybe, you know, maybe I should give it one more shot.
yeah.
And then I thought about my age. I was like, by the time I get on this show, I'm gonna be, you know, but just for the sake of being able to say to people that yes, I did audition. I did audition this last time.
Okay.
They ain't calling me back.
Okay. Well.
So it's a wrap with that. But I kudos to anybody that does it, especially now, because season 1 versus now, the things and the hoops that you have to go through to be
Right.
a part of this, I applaud anybody that gets on that show. I live for you because you went through all this and that. It's like they send you through all these hurdles and then you stop. Okay, now I'm like, girl, I'd rather go back to season 1 where you just send in the tape and
Right.
you know, it's like, so it's not easy. So
I understand.
that's
But
why
you at least auditioned.
yeah, I auditioned and they didn't call me. However, I would hope that, you know, and just in my honest opinion, you're starting to see the repetitiveness of the show, the monotony of the same thing, in my opinion. Not that I'm downplaying it at all, because I absolutely love it. But RuPaul, when you're ready to do a season of Legends, that would be when I would audition again.
Okay, I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be nice. That would
That would
definitely
be
be nice.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea too.
A very good idea. I was first introduced to you as a contestant for Continental, specifically the year we thought you were Diana Ross, and you turned around and you was Michael Jackson.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that
I
long
remember
ago.
that tape, and I thought that was such an amazing talent. Tell us what the Continental system means to you, because you were a contestant for Miss, and then you went on to compete and capture the title of Elite. So tell us what that system means to you, but also tell us why you decided to take on the Elite title and not continue on with the Miss title.
Continental means so much to me. It means the world to me because it has been the core of my existence in the world of pageantry and drag. Even before I've ultimately won Continental Elite, my participation in it for so many times was able to open doors, being known as a consistent contestant in this pageant arena. And then becoming first runner-up and second runner-up, it was so much easier even to get bookings. You know, I didn't win, but I was able to say, oh, you know, she was in the top 5. Let's book her.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to ride on that, ride the, you know, on that so easily. Secondly, the number of times that I did it is because I wanted it. And I was not going to stop until I got it. The year that Giselle won, while Giselle was being crowned, I was back at the hotel. I had left. I was like, I'm just going to look on Facebook and see who's going to be. I said, it's probably going to end up being Giselle. You know, that's my sister. I really want her to win. I went back to the hotel, and to my surprise, my family had orchestrated this whole surprise with my mom being there. She was there all weekend. I had no clue about it. How they kept it from me, to this day, I don't know. But that was the year that I decided, I was like, okay, Continental is Continental. It's just about being Continental. And getting to my point with Giselle, her, among many other people, were the ones that are whispering in my ear, Like, girl, it's the same crown. You should do Elite. I was like, no, I'm not ready right now. I want to do, let me do this. Let me do this one more time. Let me do this one more time. Let me do this one more time. And despite the fact that multiple people told me to do it, it was something about the way Giselle finally said, girl, it's the same damn crown. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I went and I did it and I won. Mm-hmm. And I remember, if you go back and you look at the video of me crowning, Giselle was saying to me, bitch, I told you.
Do you ever have a desire to go back to do Miss Continental?
Oh, no, okay. Not at all. I mean, like I said, Continental is Continental. Of course, you know, like Maya Douglas and Dana Douglas, you know, they've been there. They've done it twice. I feel like my bow out to pageantry will be this year for 2024, because I'm preparing. I'm gonna go out and say it. I'm preparing for Queen, mm-hmm. and I think I want to utilize this as my last hurrah, because of my age. I feel like it's so many new girls in this game. It's so many opportunities, and I've done it so many times. I want to leave room for somebody else, mm-hmm. but just to do it one more time for myself, mm-hmm. I want to go out with a bang. And what better way to do it than representing a particular pageantry that I have so much respect for, which is owned by somebody who has multiple titles, who knows what it's like to feel respected and embraced, and just do a little bit more than just reign, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just want to, you know, do one more time.
Well,
after that.
You know, I have always for about 3 or 4 years now, I don't know where this come from. You know, people always throwing names out there, but I had heard this rumor that you were interested in Black Universe at one time.
Was very, very interested, and I still am. Okay. And while I'm on this platform, let me say this. As I slowly prepare for Queen, it's literally 2 months mm-hmm. from now, the challenges that I'm dealing with, balancing time management, procrastination, simultaneously my step down mm-hmm. is November 10th. The pageant is December 14th, which is basically a month after. Right. December 14th is 6 days before my birthday. For my birthday, I'm going to Panama. So all of these planning things have been the challenge for me. But doing it this year most definitely will be my bow out to the world of pageantry, but still being involved in some capacity.
Yes, because you are a promoter and then you are a former.
Yes.
So definitely.
Yeah.
Have you ever been interested in, of course, I'm going to throw it in, Black America? Has that ever?
No, it's never, for some reason, it's never crossed my mind.
Okay.
It's never crossed.
What about
and back to, I didn't really finish answering the question because I drifted about Universe. I had every intention on doing Universe a couple of times, but due to situations beyond my control, it just didn't happen for whatever reason. And even though I'm sitting here saying that this is my bow out to pageantry, I'm going to rephrase that. At my expense, and at the expense of reaching out to people, and at the expense of fundraisers, at the expense of tagging a Cash App and tagging a GoFundMe link, is so draining, and it's a whole lot to do to reach out to people. And then you get people that got amnesia that said they were going to do this and do that, and then they don't. So Universe, I would love to do Universe with full sponsorship, because coming out of my pocket for this is just not going to happen.
Right.
But I would be sitting in the audience annually, every single year, until somebody says, you know what, we want to financially sponsor you because we see Universe. I was like, come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of money.
Yeah,
and I think
it
that
definitely takes a lot.
That particular system, in my opinion, is the most expensive one to do. Reason being is you do it in order to win, in order to reign. So the reign for the year is going to cost you way more than any prize money or any prize package. But with that being said, my last pageant will be Queen, and I hope to get everybody to support and show some love.
Inbox her after this interview and ask her for her Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, everything, because she can use it. Even though she's our rich auntie, We don't turn money down.
Fantasia, I have a question about pageantry though. I've always thought of you as US of A because US of A is such a talent pageant, and I've
Mhm.
always seen you as such a big talent. Have that ever been a thought, or just because of where you were, not necessarily?
Yes, it has. It has crossed my mind on a couple of times. I don't remember whatever year Maya Douglas was US of A. Um, that was the year that I competed in a preliminary, and I can't even think of the girl's name that won. I was her first runner-up, and I get her mother passed. So the promoters reached out to me to go. I was like, I'm not going. I'm not ready.
Right.
And I got banned for a period of time to not be able to compete. And so because that went on for so long, I just never
Never
even
went.
thought
Yeah.
about it. But it passed, after so many years. But it did raise my eyebrow a bit from time to time. But as far as where I go to, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when I say emotional connections.
Okay.
I just haven't had that. My emotional connection is with where I'm going in December and with MBU. If I had to do one more after that, it would definitely be MBU, provided that we get Tyler Perry and Oprah to sponsor.
Right. Well, we'll definitely be there to support you in December. Um, because you've been in the industry for so long, this is a big question that we see on Facebook all the time, and you may hear in the dressing rooms or what have you. Why do you feel, Fantasia, that numbers are down in pageantry?
Um, in a
Hmm.
nutshell, I would say because of finances. If I could do more, the only reason why I don't do it is because it's so costly. It's so costly. And no matter what the prize package is, people who are participating in pageantry, 9.5 times out of 10, as far as national pageantry, you're not doing it for the prize money because you spent triple that just to compete. But the expense is, it's just a whole lot to invest in, not only monetarily, but with your time. It's just a whole lot. So I think that's might be one of the reasons numbers are down. I think another reason is when it comes to when it comes to pageantry that has multiple preliminaries, like Continental, um, US of A. I personally feel, and this is my message. This is my message to all preliminary promoters, and I'm a preliminary promoter, and I'm saying with confidence, I'm not knocking anybody, but this definitely applies to me because of my personal experience with Southern California Continental and how I was able to do that. I did it under Liberty as well. Um, to go to a pageant completely stress free is almost impossible.
Mm.
But during my year that I was Liberty and during my year that I was Southern California, I was able to do it stress free. And the reason why, going back to what I said earlier, is because I had promoters who were emotionally invested in me. They
Yeah.
were a part of my journey.
Yeah.
I shared pictures with him, like, I'm going to do this. What do you think about this? They were involved. They were on the journey with me. They may not have had, a promoter might not have um, coins per se, but when you are emotionally invested, that drive up under your contestant is just so much more helpful.
Right.
And a preliminary is a preliminary. If you win, you need to continue promoting that preliminary.
Right.
Back to the whole Gabriel Time Dupree. He's still promoting Southern California.
Right.
That's your preliminary. So many preliminary promoters, they do their preliminary, they have their pageant, their preliminary pageant, and they see you at nationals. That's it. Nothing in between. So I feel like that would help get numbers up if you promote and promote and promote your preliminary, which, mind you, our reigning Mr. Continental that just stepped down, he won under our preliminary. And throughout his reign, he always would throw that innuendo in there, that promoting that. So I insist on my representatives to really, really promote our preliminary, because that's something you don't see.
Yes.
Right. Right. What do you think makes a great queen?
Consistency. You know, when a person, you know, people change, you know, and that's a natural thing. But your consistency in this industry, um, and your presence, I think, is something that's really, really important to be a great queen. People get sick of me tagging them and promoting this and that. I know they do, but I'm still going to do it because that's how I promote my brand and who I am, whether I'm representing somebody or not. I'm still representing myself, and I think that's what makes a great queen.
King, you got anything?
No, I've just really enjoyed talking with you. You know, in 2020, my fraternity, we did a political campaign. And I remember reaching out to you and you jumped in so quickly and you sent me over your video. And so from that point on, I've just always felt compelled to follow you because you didn't ask me any questions. You was like, oh, I'm in. Let's do it. What do I need to do? And just like with this, you went above and beyond. You know, everyone else did their video. It was a cute little video, but you made sure that you brought the drama, you brought the antics, you brought it was. And I will always be
We
grateful for
appreciate
that.
that.
So I'm always
Thank you.
I always talk I always reference you in that capacity, because you went beyond what was asked of you. So I'm sure that's how you are in your everyday. That's probably why Xavier said you take on so many
Yeah,
projects because you really marry the project, and I
yeah.
love that. I absolutely love that.
I think when it comes to promotion stuff, even though it has always existed in me, I think it kind of went a step further during my reign as Westland, because Westland is one of those pageants that are really, really heavy on promotions, and that was instilled in me, you know, during my reign, when it already existed prior to that. So promotion is just truly the key thing. Anybody that follows me, you 9.5 times out of 10, you're never going to catch my story without something to click on, even if it's just for a few seconds.
Mhm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you feel we as a drag pageantry community can do to further this industry? Is there anything, I'm pretty sure you're going to say branding and promoting, but
Mm-hmm.
is there anything outside of that that you feel like we can do as a unit to keep it thriving, keep it going, and keep people wanting to come, whether they compete or sit in the audience?
I would have to say ditto from what I just said.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, the same thing, promotion, because I come from an era long before social media.
Hmm.
When I tell you it has been instilled in me to really promote stuff,
Yeah.
I was the girl that was going to the club and putting flyers on cars.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
I would do that when I had a show, or whether it was a fashion show, a drag show. I was going and putting flyers on people's cars. You don't have to do that anymore. It's the click of a button. If you have a social media platform, there's no reason for you not to promote yourself,
Hmm.
especially if you're doing something and you're an entertainer in this industry. Even if it's occasionally just filming, like I do. I film myself
Yeah.
backstage, just doing whatever. Sometimes I let the camera roll. You accidentally come up with the most cutest little clip. It ain't gonna last forever, but it'll, you know, you'll be able to post it for 17 seconds for somebody to see, and it may enlighten them of who you are. So I
Gotcha.
think that's very, very important. Just promote your brand and who you are.
You know, Flame says that you have a reputation for being hood and fight.
I just saw that.
Is there some truth to that? Because I've never known you to be in no mess.
Her
What's
name,
up?
her name is Shaniqua. She lays, she
So it's
lays,
true.
she lays dormant in my system,
Okay.
way in the bottom of that left toe.
Okay.
But she can rise up and come
She coming.
on out.
But on a serious note for that, I've never known you to be someone that is in the midst of mess and drama. Always a very pleasant spirit from your reputation and character. Is that something that you've just always had, or is that something that you had to work towards?
It's something that I consistently work towards because Shaniqua is in me.
Okay.
Because You know, you you want to, but it's like when you really have to be able to woosah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes is really, it just takes that. And I can guarantee you, speaking for me, it's extremely difficult because whether you want to be in mess or not, you can't control somebody else putting you in it
Yeah.
Mm.
or tagging you in it or trying to provoke you to be a part of it. And my lesson that was instilled in me from my grandmother is if you argue with a fool, that makes two.
Mhm.
So you just have to learn how to just let things go.
Mhm.
And sadly, some people live for that. Some people want to click on that. They want to see that. That's how, Real Housewives and all these other shows are so successful because you got these mature older women and men acting like kids, but that's what gets them paid,
Right. It definitely.
you know.
When you look back, I'm not sure of your age, but when you look back over your entire drag career, everything you've done, you've been through the times you went to Continental, winning, Westland, now on your way to Queen, what would this particular Fantasia tell 18-year-old Fantasia about
Girl,
this industry?
girl, just keep doing what you do and be good at it.
Keep doing what you do.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my mother has always told me too.
To keep. Is there oh, Flame said you're 79.
I will be on December the 20th. Um, this is such a milestone for me,
Mhm.
and I'm so grateful and thankful for my immediately chosen family. I'm trying to speak without getting, because when you start crying, they can't
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
But my emotional connection with my kids is something that's very important to me. And the milestone that I'm about to reach is extremely important to me. Being a trans woman of color, statistics state that we don't live to see 35. I will be 60 years old on December the 20th.
Wow.
And to be able to say that and to still be of sound mind and body and being able to physically do the things that 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds are doing and still be
Yes.
capable of doing that, it is a blessing that I do not take for granted at all. But I'm going to celebrate it with family and loved ones who love me the most in Panama. We're taking a
Right.
trip to Panama to enjoy my 60th
60th
birthday.
birthday. Wow. Wow. What is some things, because I know you you've spoken on your kids a lot. What are some things that you instilled in them that you want them to continue on when you're gone or as they move forward in this industry?
From my personal experiences and I'm speaking specifically with pageantry, it's so disappointing when people let you down. So I insist and instill in my children to be, quote unquote, a man of your word. Do what you say you're going to do. If you have expressed something to someone, they're going to remember it and they're going to expect it, but they might not feel some type of way to remind you or to ask you again. So just do what you say you're going to do for others. And I also instilled in them, and we have this group agreement of the word "I got you." When I tell you the confidence I have from any of my kids, when they say "I got you," I don't have to worry about anything.
Wow.
If I tell them, if they say, "Oh, we'll be over at 6 o'clock, we'll bring this, we'll bring that," I don't have to say, "Are you sure?" Because if I say, "Are you sure?" If I say, "Are you sure?" and I hear from them, "I got you," I can relax. Period. And that's how I am. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something for them, if you hear me say, "I got you," you ain't got to worry about nothing else.
Right. Your word.
Yeah.
Your word.
Keep
What is
me
something that your children will say about you?
is that I'm very extremely thoughtful, loyal, and reliable with the "I got you" situation. Would literally give the shirt off my back. Even though a perfect example of my character is like we were talking about earlier, the world of pageantry is extremely expensive. It's very, very expensive. Even though I'm getting ready for my own, if I see my good Judy and she's posted her Cash App and she's getting ready for this, I'll send her something, even though I need something myself. I, I for the sake of not mentioning names, my representative is my most important priority when it comes to being a promoter. But this year for Continental, the small contributions that I've given to X amount of people, $20 here, $25 there, $30 here, it accumulated well over $600 or $800. And it was just little small tokens of love occasionally, one week and then another week and then another week and then another week and then another week. Um, and, somebody fell on some misfortunes. And I'm speaking without trying to mention names, because
Right.
I don't think you need to boast or post about what you've done for someone, but just knowing that I've done a few little things, and it's the smallest little things for someone to make a difference, while simultaneously wanting something done for myself, just to be able to pull from that. It's a perfect judge of character that I'm thoughtful to a lot of people sometimes when I really don't need to.
When we think of legends, we think of those that have mastered the craft, and then those who have done the things that you've done. If you could look now at some newcomers or some up and coming girls that you like, who would they be?
Oh, Amaya Glamazon.
She seems to continuously get called.
Amaya Glamazon. Oh my goodness. If I was 16 in this industry right now and had the desire that I had at 16 or 18 or 20, and I saw her, that's how I want to be like that.
Okay.
That's me. She is definitely, yeah, definitely a Maya Glamazon. And Sasha Colby, because she's not up there,
Right.
but she's that, I mean, yeah, Sasha Colby, Giselle, who's still really, she ain't up there yet, but those are the ones that I would be looking at and trying to mold myself to their similarities, not duplicating them, but
Yeah,
somehow, yeah.
definitely.
It's the perfectionist that exists in
The
them,
hunger.
the quality of their drag, and the stage presence, and just everything about them. And I can name a few more, but those are the ones that really, really, really stick out.
Gotcha. Braxton just joined us. He wants to say hi.
Hi, Braxton. Is that the
He
dummy,
mentioned you
Braxton?
earlier, Demi.
What's going on, dummy?
I think he's finna go live in a few. Right quick, we have two more questions because we say an hour every week. It never happens when we have people like you who can talk, and we love to talk to. Tell us, what do you feel your legacy will be 20 years from now?
I would hope that my legacy would be, and I guess it's kind of fitting to share it now since we just recently lost Chili Pepper.
Right.
When you think of Chili Pepper, you don't vision or know of her name to be in anything negative. Mm-hmm. Anybody that has had any type of personal connection with her, all you can do is smile and think about the memories of that person. And that's what I would want my legacy to be, for people to be able to look back and be like, and to just to be able to smile when they think of my name. And that's one of the reasons that people might notice is now that I'm mentioning in it, that when I hug people, I don't know if you have never been hugged by me. I hug really tight. It's almost like, bitch, let me go. Sometimes I really hug people, and then I'll do it again twice, because you never know when that might be that last moment. Right. So when I hug people, I hug them, unfortunately, knowing that that might be the last time. So let me really give you all of this, because I really mean it.
Gotcha. At 60 years old, is Fontasia dating, involved, looking to date?
At 60 years old, I wish I had not made one of the biggest mistakes of my life with relationships is the man that I was dating when I was really, really young. And he and I are the best of friends to this day. And he's fine as hell to this day. But we're still friends. Um, the the ups and downs that I've been through as in relationships, dating straight men has been extremely challenging. It's so difficult to find men who are really comfortable in their manhood, and I've found one or two, but I was not ready because of being burnt with previous relationships of people. So yeah, I'm content.
You can
You know,
okay.
I mean, just this year alone has I've proven to myself that I'm okay with my solitude. You know, and yes, I do have trade once in a blue moon. I call it bus token trade. Take it, get on.
What's up the trade?
Yes.
Before we go, any misconceptions, any clearances that you want to clear up about you, your name, anything that you may have heard or whatever?
Well, let me clear this up right now.
Okay.
I'm not rich.
Let me tell you
By
where
a
that
long
came from, though.
shot, I'm not
Let me
rich.
tell you where that came from. I've always been this type of person, especially when it comes to our entertainers. I envision them in this thing. And when I see you, whenever I see you, you come off as the auntie that said, I'm not having kids. I have a beau in Paris, Italy, Panama. It's just how you dress, and you just come off as the rich auntie that sends all of the nieces and nephews gifts on Christmas because you don't want to be bothered with the family because you're on the yacht somewhere. So that is the perception. That's the image that I have of
Okay.
Fontasia LAmour. So when I say my rich auntie, let me live in that.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that.
But we get it. But Marcos is going to make us shirts for Queen that says my rich auntie is going to Queen. So he's on that.
Oh.
Yes, he said that he was. When I made the post last week, he said he's going to make T-shirts. So we're going to get our T-shirts.
Oh,
But
name. I didn't even know that. I'm
yes,
just now hearing that.
yes. So anyone that just joined us, you all know we do this every week for our legends and icons. We were fortunate to talk for an hour and 40 minutes on Fontasia LAmour. She
Oh,
gave us so many
I'm just
good
now
nuggets.
looking at the time. It has been,
Yes.
oh my God.
Yes. She gave us such a good rundown of her life. We know we can't get everything in an hour or however long, but we do ask this thing. It's called the Opulent Jewel for Renaissance Opulence. That's our title. Where we ask our icon or legend to just give us a word of advice specifically for us as entertainers, us as the king and queen to move on, whether we choose to continue to do pageantry or not, something that you would like to instill in us that we can leave here with tonight.
Oh, oh, I knew about this question. I knew because like I told you, I watched it a couple of times and I knew about this question.
Right.
That's so weird that I knew about this question, and I answered it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how to really convey.
However you feel.
I just think that it's very important to, and I feel like I'm repeating myself when I talk about the hug situation.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You have to take, I think people should take time to create moments that another will never forget.
Okay.
With intention. And whether it's just from a hug or just a phone call. The one thing that I do that I'm known for, well, I'm not known for it publicly because I never really announced it. Just like I was saying, like some of the things that I've done with contributing to people's cash apps and this and that. They're not things that you really announce,
Right.
you know. But the one thing that I do, and I just recently did this with, I'm going to say his name, C.A. Lopez. And I'm just using his name as an example because I can say it with confidence. 2 days ago, I sent him a long text message And it was not my intention for him to reply back to it. And it's just, he's able to document the fact that I just thought about him, and I picked up the phone and I texted him, and I left him a message, not on his social media, but on his phone. And then he called me and we talked. Anything that you think or feel about a certain person, you should pull them aside and take advantage of that moment. And I'm saying that because if you know, I can mention a name that a lot of people may not know, Alana Kelly. She was on the cast of The Baton. Never met her a day in my life. I've never met her, but it was something about her that I just loved her drag. I loved her presence. I can't put my finger on it, but I just love this woman. And I never knew her. Mimi knows her. Cezanne, everybody that worked at the time know her,
Right.
but I never got a chance to meet her. And she's no longer with us, so I never had an opportunity to express, something to her. I'm the type of person, I would pull a girl aside and say, you know what, girl, I really like this. I really like that. And tell them face to face the very thing that you would have probably typed and tagged on their timeline. Tell them face to face.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the reason why we do these particular, we don't like to call them interviews, but these conversations, because you just never know. Not that we're finna kill anyone off, like, but we would have loved to have had Desiree. Love to have had Chili Pepper, legends and icons. And so these are moments that, people may not necessarily get to you, but they can learn something about you tonight, and that'll stay up forever. So I definitely understand what you're saying. Make those moments with people, because you never know what could happen or what's going to come of that. So thank you for being a part of our reign, our platform, now our legacy. I appreciate you so much for immediately accepting, even though we got to figure out what's going on with the heck with your page.
Yeah.
Yes.
We definitely have to figure that out.
Thank you for being so open, Fontasia. And those of you that want to support her, she is on her way to Queens. She announced it. So please inbox her on Instagram or Facebook, this page on Facebook, and send her your Cash App if you can. Show her love, or just come and show up in the audience.
Yes.
This will stay up. If you want to share it, please share it so everyone can get it. We have a lot of people that don't watch it in live time. They always go back and inbox days later.
Yeah.
So this will be up. Thank you so much, Fontasia. We appreciate you. And on behalf of myself, as well as Wendell, he had another meeting tonight with his university. But so that's why he had to leave. But is there anything else you want to say before we go?
I would say, I think because I do like to promote a whole lot, and the whole frustration with the whole hacked account and all that mess that I'm dealing with now. A lot of times I've recently tried to go live on this account, but the numbers are still not where they should be within 5 minutes of doing a live. So just make sure that you're following the correct page, which is this one.
Right.
I am more on Instagram more than I am on Facebook. So to follow me on there is just under Simply Fontasia, the word Simply Fontasia, which is the same as my Cash App, Simply Fontasia.
So we got the Cash App. Well, someone said Fontasia LAmour is your Cash App. So which one is it?
No, it's Simply Fontasia.
Okay, Simply Fontasia is her Cash App.
Yes, that's
your
the correct.
Son gave the wrong one.
Right. And that's what I was talking about earlier with that account, by it still existing. If you scroll down the timeline, you'll see the history of that once was my Cash App, but that got hacked. My Cash App got hacked a long time ago.
Okay.
So now I try to keep everything simple. Okay. That's why it's Simply Fontasia, which is Simply Fontasia on Instagram, Simply Fontasia with Cash App, and then other means of sending things you can always DM me for all of that.
All right. Well, run her up, y'all, before the 14th, and it's also her 60th birthday. So run her up while she's in Panama and all of that good stuff. And we will see you in December personally for that hug and a picture with Freddie.
A picture with Freddie. Yes, yes.
If
I don't have him with me, you just know he's in the building. Somewhere.
Well, you know what? Give him to me that night. I'll hold on to him that night.
Oh, you gonna babysit?
I'll babysit Freddie that night. I will.
he's very valuable.
I got you. But thank you for
a quick little something to mess with people really quick. And this is just to mess with y'all. If you watch the images of If you watch the images of Freddie, everybody that has done a selfie with him has been or has become continental.
Well, let me get Freddie. Come on. Yeah, let me get Freddie that weekend. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I got you. So that's a little nugget. So make sure you come see me with pictures if you're trying to be continental.
Okay, I sure will.
Thank you so much, Fontasia. We love you. We appreciate you, and you have a good rest of the night.
I love you too. Take care, my dear.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.